If you are over 60 watching this right now, I need you to listen very carefully to what I am about to say. Because your kidneys do not send pain signals the way your joints do, or the way your back does. They do not throb, they do not ache, they just get quieter. And by the time most people discover something is wrong, they have already lost 50% or more of their kidney function. And that loss, once it crosses a certain threshold, does not come back. There is the enough. After age 60, your kidney function naturally declines. That part is normal. But the speed at which it declines, that part is not fixed. That part is directly connected to what you eat every single morning, every single afternoon, every single evening. And there are 3 foods that have been quietly shown in research to actually help repair and protect aging kidneys. And there are 3 other foods millions of seniors eat every single week believing they are healthy, that are quietly making things worse. Stay with me because in the next few minutes, I am going to walk you through all 6. And the last food on the bad list, most people over 60 have never suspected it for a single day. Let's get into it. Before we go any further, I want you to understand what is actually happening inside your kidneys after 60, because this is the foundation everything else sits on. Your kidneys each contain roughly 1 million tiny filters called nephrons. Each nephron is a microscopic unit, a glomerulus wrapped in a network of capillaries that separates waste from what your body needs to keep. Starting around age 40, you lose approximately 6,000 to 7,000 nephrons every single year. By the time you are 65, you may have lost 30% of your filtration capacity. This is not disease. This is normal aging. But here is where the food on your plate becomes the difference between a gentle decline and a crisis. When you have fewer nephrons, each remaining nephron has to work harder. It has to filter more blood. It has to handle more sodium, more phosphorus, more waste products. And if you are feeding the wrong foods into this system, foods that increase the workload on those remaining filters, you accelerate the damage. You turn a slow, manageable decline into a fast, dangerous one. The beautiful truth, and the reason I am making this video, is that the reverse is also true. When you feed those remaining nephrons the right foods, you lighten their load. You protect them. And in some cases, as the research has shown, you can actually help them repair. Now let's start with the first food that heals your kidneys. And I want you to picture a red bell pepper. Not a green one, a red one, fully ripened on the vine. Because here is what most people do not know about this common vegetable. 1 medium red bell pepper contains 152 milligrams of vitamin C. That is 169% of your daily requirement. It contains more vitamin C per ounce than an orange. And for aging kidneys, vitamin C matters for a reason you have probably never heard. Vitamin C reduces oxidative stress on the glomerular membrane. Let me translate that. Think of oxidative stress like rust forming on a metal pipe. Inside each of your nephrons, the delicate capillary walls that do the actual filtering are under constant attack from free radicals, unstable molecules that damage cell membranes. This damage is called oxidative stress, and it accelerates significantly after 60. Vitamin C is your body's primary water-soluble antioxidant. It neutralizes those free radicals before they can tear into the glomerular membrane. And red bell peppers deliver this protection without the potassium load that makes other vitamin C sources, oranges, bananas, kiwi, problematic for aging kidneys, because struggling kidneys have a hard time managing potassium. A 2018 study published in the Journal of Renal Nutrition followed over 1,100 adults with early-stage kidney decline for 5 years. The finding was striking. Higher dietary intake of vitamin C and carotenoids was associated with a 32% lower risk of progression to advanced kidney disease over the follow-up period. That is not a small number. That is a third lower risk from nutrients found in a food that costs about $1 at any grocery store. But vitamin C is only part of what red bell peppers do for your kidneys. They also contain lycopene, the carotenoid that gives them their deep red color. A 2021 review in the journal Nutrients examined 14 clinical trials and found that lycopene supplementation significantly reduced markers of kidney injury, specifically a compound called KIM1, kidney injury molecule 1, in adults with compromised kidney function. The mechanism is direct. Lycopene inhibits a pathway called NF-kappa B. When NF-kappa B is activated, it triggers inflammation inside the kidney tissue. Chronic inflammation leads to fibrosis, scarring, and scarred nephrons do not filter. They just take up space. Lycopene helps keep that inflammatory switch in the off position. Here is how to use this food practically, because I am not going to tell you to eat a red bell pepper and leave you wondering how. Slice half a red bell pepper into strips. Eat them raw with a tablespoon of hummus made from chickpeas, low in sodium if you choose the right brand. Or roast them with a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil and a pinch of rosemary at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. The roasting actually makes the lycopene more available to your body. Monday, half a pepper with lunch. Wednesday, diced into a salad with arugula and cucumber. Friday, roasted alongside a piece of wild salmon. Which brings me to the second food. Wild-caught fatty fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel, Atlantic herring. These fish contain two long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, that do something remarkable inside your kidneys. They do not just reduce inflammation generally, they actively resolve it through the production of specialized molecules called resolvins and protectins. Here is what happens after 60 that makes this so important. Your body's inflammatory response becomes more aggressive with age. It is a phenomenon researchers call inflammaging, a chronic, low-grade inflammation that accelerates tissue damage throughout the body, and the kidneys are particularly vulnerable. The glomeruli, those delicate capillary networks I described, are exquisitely sensitive to inflammatory damage. When inflammation is high, the capillary walls thicken, they stiffen, they lose their ability to filter precisely, and eventually they scar. Omega-3s from fatty fish produce resolvins and protectins that do not simply mask inflammation the way a painkiller masks pain. They actively signal to your immune system that the threat is handled. Stand down. Begin repair. Inside the kidneys, resolvins help protect the podocytes, the specialized cells that wrap around the glomerular capillaries and control what gets filtered and what stays in your blood. Damaged podocytes cannot be replaced. You have a finite number. Protecting every single one is non-negotiable. A landmark 2020 study in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology followed over 2,400 adults aged 65 and older for 8 years. The researchers measured blood levels of omega-3s, not what people said they ate, but what was actually circulating in their bloodstream. Participants in the highest third of omega-3 blood levels had a 23% lower risk of developing chronic kidney disease compared to those in the lowest third. And among those who already had reduced kidney function, higher omega-3 levels were associated with a 19% slower rate of decline in GFR, glomerular filtration rate, which is the number your doctor watches most closely on your blood work. 19% slower decline. Over 8 years, that is the difference between needing dialysis at 75 and never needing it at all. Now, I want to be very careful here because I know what some of you are thinking. What about the mercury in fish? What about the contaminants? This is a fair question, and the data has an answer. A 2019 analysis in the journal Environmental Health Perspectives examined the net health effect of fish consumption in older adults. They modeled the risks from mercury exposure against the benefits from omega-3s and selenium, a mineral in fish that actually binds to mercury and helps your body excrete it. The conclusion was clear. For adults over 60, the cardiovascular and renal benefits of consuming 2 to 3 servings of fatty fish per week substantially outweighed the risks from mercury exposure. The key is selecting the right species. Wild salmon, sardines, Atlantic mackerel. These are low in mercury and high in omega-3s. Avoid king mackerel, shark, swordfish, and tilefish. Those are the high mercury species. 2 servings a week. That is your target. A serving is about 4 ounces, roughly the size of your palm. Monday, 5 ounces of wild sockeye salmon baked with lemon and dill, served alongside those roasted red bell pepper strips. Thursday, a can of sardines in olive oil, and I want you to make sure it says in olive oil, not soybean oil, mashed onto a piece of whole grain toast with a squeeze of fresh lemon and a pinch of black pepper. That is lunch in under 4 minutes. Now here is where the third food comes in, the one that genuinely surprised me when I reviewed the research. Extra virgin olive oil. Not any olive oil. Extra virgin. Cold-pressed. Unrefined. Because the compound that protects your kidneys is not the fat itself. It is a polyphenol called oleocanthal. And oleocanthal is found only in extra virgin olive oil. When the oil is refined, heated, chemically treated, stripped of its color and flavor, the oleocanthal is destroyed completely. What oleocanthal does inside your body is extraordinary. It inhibits the same inflammatory enzyme that ibuprofen targets, COX-2. But it does so gently, naturally, and without the kidney-damaging side effects of long-term NSAID use. This matters enormously because chronic ibuprofen and naproxen use is one of the most common causes of preventable kidney damage in older adults. Many seniors take these medications for arthritis or joint pain without ever being told what they are doing to their kidneys. Oleocanthal from extra virgin olive oil provides anti-inflammatory support through the same pathway, but without the toxicity. It is working with your body, not against it. A 2022 randomized controlled trial published in the journal Clinical Nutrition assigned 90 adults with stage 1 and stage 2 chronic kidney disease to either a Mediterranean diet rich in extra virgin olive oil or a standard low-fat renal diet for 12 months. The Mediterranean diet group showed a significant improvement in GFR. Their filtration rate actually increased, on average, by 4.2 points over the year. The standard diet group continued to decline, and the researchers isolated oleocanthal as the likely driver of that improvement. Here is the practical application. 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil per day. That is it. Drizzle 1 tablespoon over your lunch salad. Use the second tablespoon to cook your salmon or dress your roasted vegetables. Do not cook it at high heat. Oleocanthal degrades above 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Use it raw when possible, low to medium heat when you must. And here is a detail that genuinely matters. Look for a harvest date on the bottle, not a best by date, a harvest date. Olive oil degrades over time. Oleocanthal content drops by roughly 30% after 12 months of storage. Buy the freshest bottle you can find. Store it in a cool, dark cabinet, not next to the stove where heat accelerates the breakdown every single day. Those 3 foods, red bell peppers, wild fatty fish, and extra virgin olive oil, are not expensive. They are not complicated. But every single one of them is doing something specific inside your kidneys. Reducing oxidative damage, resolving inflammation, protecting the delicate podocytes and glomerular membranes that your filtration depends on. If you added just those 3 foods to your weekly routine starting this week, your kidneys would already be in better shape a month from now. But I told you this was a two-sided story. Because for every food that helps repair your kidneys after 60, there is a food doing the opposite. Quietly, gradually, without any warning sign until your next blood test comes back worse than the last one. Before I show you those 3 foods, the ones most seniors are eating every single week thinking they are healthy, if this video is helping you, if you have learned something today that you did not know when you woke up this morning, hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second, and it tells this platform that this kind of information matters for people our age, which means it gets shown to more people who need it. Now here is what you need to remove. The first food that is quietly destroying your kidneys after 60 is processed deli meat. Turkey slices from the deli counter, ham, roast beef, bologna, salami. And before you think this does not apply to you because you do not eat a lot of deli meat, I want you to think about what is actually in your refrigerator right now. The sandwich you made yesterday, the turkey wrap you grabbed for lunch last Tuesday, the ham and cheese you put on crackers as a snack. Here is what makes deli meat dangerous for aging kidneys, and it is not just the sodium, although the sodium alone is significant. Some brands pack 500 to 700 milligrams of sodium into 3 thin slices. Sodium pulls water into your bloodstream, increasing your blood volume, which increases the pressure inside your glomeruli. Over time, that pressure damages the delicate capillary walls. Doctors call this glomerular hyperfiltration injury. It is one of the primary drivers of kidney function decline in older adults. But sodium is not even the worst part. The real danger, the one most people have never heard of, is phosphorus. Specifically, inorganic phosphate additives. When you see words like sodium phosphate, potassium phosphate, or phosphoric acid on a food label, those are phosphorus compounds your body absorbs at over 90%. Compare that to the phosphorus naturally present in whole foods like beans and nuts, where your body absorbs only 40 to 60% because it is bound to phytates that partially block absorption. The food industry adds phosphate compounds to deli meats as preservatives and moisture retention agents. They keep the turkey looking pink and plump in the package. But inside your body, high phosphate levels trigger the release of a hormone called FGF23, fibroblast growth factor 23. FGF23 tells your kidneys to dump phosphate. In young, healthy kidneys, this works. In aging kidneys with fewer nephrons, FGF23 levels rise higher and higher as the remaining nephrons struggle to keep up. And elevated FGF23 is not just a marker of kidney stress, it is an independent driver of kidney damage. A 2017 study in the Journal of the American Society of Nephrology found that elevated FGF23 levels independently predicted faster kidney function decline and higher mortality in adults with chronic kidney disease. You are not just eating something salty, you are eating something that forces your kidneys into a chemical workload they cannot sustain. The swap is simple, and I mean genuinely simple. Instead of deli turkey, roast a turkey breast yourself. Slice it thin. Add black pepper and a drizzle of olive oil. You control the sodium. You eliminate the phosphate additives entirely. Instead of ham, use roasted chicken breast, seasoned with rosemary and garlic. 10 minutes of prep on Sunday gives you sandwich protein for the entire week. Your kidneys do not have to fight a phosphorus surge at lunchtime. Your FGF23 levels do not spike. Your remaining nephrons are not asked to process an inorganic phosphate load they were never designed to handle. The second food is dark colas, and I want to be specific here because this is not about all sodas. Clear sodas like ginger ale or lemon lime drinks do not contain the compound I am about to describe. This is about dark caramel-colored colas. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, store brands, any soda with that deep brown color. These drinks contain phosphoric acid. It is what gives cola its tangy bite, and it is also what directly damages your kidneys, through a mechanism entirely separate from what we discussed with deli meat. Phosphoric acid is an inorganic phosphate in liquid form. One 12-ounce can of cola contains approximately 50 to 60 milligrams of phosphorus, in a form your body absorbs at nearly 100%. But the phosphorus load is only part of the problem. Phosphoric acid also acidifies your urine. Your kidneys must then work to buffer that acid, pulling calcium from your bones and bicarbonate from your blood to neutralize it. Over years, this acid burden contributes to the formation of calcium oxalate kidney stones and accelerates tubular damage deep inside the nephrons. A 2019 analysis in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology followed over 3,000 adults for 12 years and found that those who consumed one or more dark colas per day had a 23% higher risk of developing kidney function decline compared to those who drank none. The effect was not seen with clear sodas. It was specific to the phosphoric acid in dark colas. If you drink a Diet Coke every afternoon, this is not about the calories. It is about the phosphorus. It is about the acid load. It is about what your kidneys have to do after every single can. This is not me telling you that soda is bad in some abstract way. This is me telling you that your kidneys are down roughly 30% of their workforce after 60, and phosphoric acid is giving the remaining 70% an extra shift they did not sign up for and do not need. The swap is equally simple. Sparkling water with a squeeze of fresh lemon or a splash of unsweetened cranberry juice. Not cranberry cocktail, that is mostly sugar water. Unsweetened pure cranberry juice. Cranberries contain compounds called proanthocyanidins that may help prevent bacteria from adhering to the urinary tract wall. A 2021 review in the Cochrane Database of Systematic Reviews found that cranberry products reduced the risk of symptomatic culture-verified urinary tract infections by 30% in older adults. And UTIs are one of the leading causes of acute kidney injury in seniors, Sudden, serious kidney damage that can happen in a matter of days. One splash of pure cranberry juice in your sparkling water gives you two benefits in a single glass. Acid burden eliminated, kidney protection added. And now here is the third food on the bad list. The one I told you I would hold to the end. The one millions of seniors consume every single week believing it is a health food. The one that, more than anything else we have discussed, is quietly driving up blood pressure, forcing your nephrons to overwork, and accelerating kidney function decline without a single warning sign your body can alert you to. I am talking about canned soup, not homemade soup, not the soup you simmer on your stove with fresh vegetables and low-sodium broth made from scratch. I am talking about the can you open, pour into a bowl, and microwave for 3 minutes. The one with the word healthy printed on the label. The one that says reduced sodium in soft green letters across the front. Here is what reduced sodium actually means on a soup can, according to FDA regulations. A product can say reduced sodium if it contains 25% less sodium than the regular version of that same product. So if the regular chicken noodle soup contains 890 milligrams of sodium per serving, the reduced sodium version contains 667 milligrams per serving. And here's the part most people do not notice because the serving size is printed in small text on the back. One can of soup typically contains 2.5 servings. That single bowl you are eating for lunch, that one bowl, is delivering over 1,600 milligrams of sodium, even in the reduced sodium version. The American Heart Association recommends that adults over 60 limit sodium to no more than 1,500 milligrams per day. You have exceeded your entire daily allowance in one bowl of soup that says reduced sodium on the label. What happens when that sodium hits your bloodstream within minutes of finishing the bowl? Your blood volume expands, your blood pressure rises, not days later, within hours. A 2020 study in the journal Hypertension used ambulatory blood pressure monitoring to measure what happens after a high sodium meal. In adults over 60, systolic blood pressure increased by an average of 12 to 15 points within 2 hours of consuming a meal containing 1,500 milligrams of sodium. And it stayed elevated for 4 to 6 hours. Every day, every bowl. Your kidneys are being asked to filter blood at a pressure they were not designed to handle. The glomeruli, those delicate capillary networks that are the heart of every single nephron, are being stretched. Stretched capillaries scar. Scarred nephrons stop filtering. And you never feel it happening. There is no pain. There is no signal. There is just a blood test 6 months later that comes back worse than the last one. The swap is not to give up soup. It is to make it yourself. And I do not mean a recipe that takes hours. I mean this. On Sunday, fill a large pot with water. Add a whole chicken or chicken bones. Add roughly chopped carrots, celery, onion, garlic, fresh thyme, and a bay leaf. Simmer for 90 minutes. Strain. You now have a week's worth of bone broth that contains sodium only from the vegetables. Roughly 80 to 120 milligrams per cup, not 700. Freeze it in portions. When you want soup, take 1 portion from the freezer, add fresh vegetables, add some of that roasted chicken you prepared earlier in the week. Heat and eat. Total sodium for that bowl? Under 300 milligrams. That is 80% less than what was in the reduced sodium can. Your kidneys do not have to fight a sodium tidal wave. Your blood pressure does not spike 2 hours later. Your nephrons are not stretched against a pressure surge they cannot withstand. And here is what I want you to notice about all 3 of these foods on the bad list. The deli meat, the dark cola, the canned soup. They share a common pattern. Every single one is a product that was engineered in a factory, not grown in soil. Every single one delivers a chemical load, phosphorus, phosphoric acid, sodium, that your aging kidneys were never designed to process at the volume most seniors consume them. And every single one has a simple, practical, affordable swap. Roast your own turkey. Sparkling water with a splash of cranberry. Sunday bone broth. These are not radical lifestyle changes. They are substitutions. Same meal, different source. Vastly different effect on the organs that filter every drop of your blood. Now let me bring all 6 foods together because I want you to leave this video with something clear and actionable. Not overwhelmed, not confused, genuinely equipped. Your kidneys after 60 are working with fewer nephrons than they had at 40. That is a biological reality. But how hard those remaining nephrons have to work, how much oxidative stress they face, how much inflammation they endure, how much phosphorus they are asked to process, how much pressure they are forced to filter against, those are not fixed. Those are choices. Choices you make at the grocery store. Choices you make when you open your refrigerator. Choices you make 3 times a day, starting with your very next meal. The 3 foods that help repair your kidneys, red bell peppers, wild fatty fish, and extra virgin olive oil, reduce oxidative damage, resolve inflammation, and protect the delicate cellular structures inside each nephron that make filtration possible. The 3 foods that damage your kidneys: processed deli meat, dark colas, and canned soup. Increase your phosphorus load, spike your blood pressure, and accelerate the scarring that slowly steals your filtration capacity. This is not bodybuilding science. This is not optimization science. This is independent science. This is whether you will be able to travel to see your grandchildren without a dialysis schedule dictating where you can go and for how long. This is whether you will be in control of your own body at 75 or tethered to a machine 3 times a week. Your kidneys do not ask for much. They ask for foods that do not force them to work harder than they have to. You now have 3 that help them and 3 that hurt them. The difference between those 2 paths is not found in a prescription or a procedure. It is found in what you put on your plate. Now I want to hear from you. Scroll down to the comments right now and tell me your age. Are you 62, 68, 73, 79? And tell me, which of these foods surprised you the most? Which one have you been eating for years without knowing what it was doing to your kidneys? Which one are you going to add to your diet this week? I read every single comment. Your feedback shapes the videos I make next. And when you post your age in the comments, something important happens. You see 67, you see 74, you see 61, and suddenly you realize you are not alone in this. There are thousands of people around the world in exactly the same season of life, asking exactly the same questions, and making exactly the same changes. That shared experience is powerful. It keeps you accountable, and it helps us build a community here that is real. If you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe right now and tap the bell so you do not miss what is coming next. Because the next video I have planned breaks down the #1 morning food that stops leg muscle loss after 60, and it is almost certainly not what you are eating for breakfast right now. You do not want to miss that one. And one final thought I want to leave you with. There is a version of aging that most of us have been told to expect. Things slow down. Things stop working quite the way they used to. The blood test comes back a little worse each year. And that version is so common that we have started to treat it as inevitable. But inevitable is a word that rarely holds up under real scrutiny. The kidney is one of the most resilient organs in the human body. It can function on a fraction of its original capacity. It can compensate. It can adapt. And when you give it the right nutritional environment, when you stop hitting it with phosphate additives and sodium surges and start feeding it antioxidants and anti-inflammatory fats, it responds. Not overnight, but over weeks and months, the research shows it responds. You are not too old. It is not too late. And the next meal you eat, the very next one, is an opportunity. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. That tells me something about you. It tells me you are serious about your health. You are paying attention. You are someone who actually intends to make a change and not just think about it. I respect that enormously. Now go take care of those beautiful kidneys of yours. I will see you in the next video.